Hello, my name is Rose. I'm not sure if you remember me, but at one time in my life, we used to do story tutorials together. We had the best time. I did take my tripod and I took my light, but my tripod broke and we honestly had meetings, 4 meetings a day, but it was wonderful and I'm back. In fact, we're doing one on Sunday today because that's how much I've missed you. So let's do this. And I had a request a while ago and I knew I was getting ready for that trip, but it was for one of my old looks and I can't remember, I can't find the picture now. It was a screenshot of something I've done. So if you are watching this, it's the one where I had the black kind of in here and a little bit out here as well. You know what I'm talking about. Let's do that. So what we're gonna do is I remember starting with a liquid shadow, and I'm gonna start with something that's not quite as dark as Capulet. So this one's gonna be a little bit lighter than the About Face Capulets that I always use. So we're just gonna go ahead and go to town, okay? Sheen is going through it right now. He's taking his little bath. He's so excited that I'm in here filming. Both of them are. So Jean's taking a little bath and it's gonna be extra horrible sounding for just a second. So I'm taking a fluffy brush and I'm gonna start to tap and diffuse. These are pretty pigmented, so they're gonna kind of cover up the veins and they're gonna act as a pre-base. So I don't mind if a little bit of this gets on my lid. You'll see why in a second. Just go ahead and smooth that out with the tip of a fluffy brush. Okay, then I know I was using kind of warm and cool. So we're gonna hop over to our Viseart. Grabbing on the tip of an E28. By the way, remember how we were doing the Complexion Duo on sale? It was almost buy one, get one free with the C41 and C42. That's not gonna last much longer, so I'm gonna put the link here. So now I'm gonna take this and just kind of push it into my socket, add some depth. We're gonna need black eyeshadow, but we're just gonna be using such a small amount of it, and that's kind of what creates the really cool shape. But I'm just gonna build this up a little bit more, same shade, just on the tip. And just kind of keep pushing that. See how I'm pushing it into the socket? That way it acts like a guideline. We don't really have to guess. We're kind of filling for that orbital bone there. Easy peasy. And this is what I was talking about. I meant to get you the link. I don't know where I want to be. Whee, there I am. So $50 for 2 brushes. Two of the chunky jean size brushes too. So I'm going to leave the link here, but we don't do this often. Plus, you're gonna need this to go with what's coming. Now, I think I might use a little bit of this. Beep. Picked it up on the side. That way I can just use the whole side of the brush to transition. And this is basically all I would have done. Yep, that looks like it. Nice. Y'all hear Ben playing guitar? It's wild. I'm gonna just pick it up as I need it till it's just a nice, even transition. See how I picked up less? I know that I need less at this point. Too much and we could just overblend and have chaos. All right, good. Do you see how subtle that is? It's very subtle, but it's a very soft blur and it kind of completes the look. So what I did is I grabbed just a touch of this, very small amount. These are very pigmented. I'm going to focus most of it here on the very highest point. Then I'm going to take it over this way and a little bit over that way, and it just continues that blend and finishes the eyeshadow off. And now we're just nice and blurred and there's no harsh lines. Now, to make the black that we're going to apply in here really pop, we need something a little brighter on our lid. So let's grab this shade and we're just going to go ahead and pack that on the lid. I'm going to take it over this way a little bit, just kind of push it into the socket. Mostly focusing it on the lid though. There you go. That's all we need. Just gonna enhance it in just a second. So I even have a better hack now. This is gonna be easier because at this point in my makeup journey, I am very well versed in freehanding lines. It's what I love to do. So now I would take clear eye base if I was kind of just wanting to do this look and just starting out. I would go into black eyeshadow now with my brush, and then I would kind of just take this in here, and you don't have to worry because it's much more diffused, but we're kind of getting our color more saturated here. And even if you have a not steady hand, all we did is kind of create an even more easy to use cream eyeshadow because we're just creating that out of the base and then the powder eyeshadow. And then hang on, you're thinking, whoa, I still can't do this. You absolutely can, because all we're doing is just kind of concentrating the color. Okay, there's our concentrated, like orange juice. All right, so then we just grab an E27. And this is why I was telling you not to worry too much about it, because now we're even just gonna soften it a little bit more. I don't have anything on this brush. And then all I did was kind of bring it into here. And you're just softening the line. So if you don't have a steady hand, it doesn't matter, because this look really isn't about precision. It's more about just illusion. I think I'll take a little bit of micellar water. I can't remember if I did this. I'm just adjusting my phone. I can't remember if I did this or not, but it just kind of shows you. I feel like this is a really good thing anyways, that even though, remember we had shadow on our lids, no matter where we are in our makeup, we can fix things, we can move things, we can change things. I feel that we forget that makeup is just mixing mediums. It's just, think of it as paint, and we can just correct and fix and come back, change, rearrange. We don't have to be tied to where we're headed. Same thing in life. Okay, now I remembered what I did. So eyeshadow base, just the clear one, the one from Milk that we always use. And then I went on top of that with the same lid color, because the contrast is really what makes it pop. We're just gonna layer that up. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Feels so good to be back in my room with my animals snoring, filming, hanging out with y'all. Then I took, again, the Milk primer on the E26, and I went ahead and I connected this just like a little birdie beak. So essentially it's going to be kind of a halo eye, but it's a little bit more of a structured cut crease halo eye. I'm pretty sure that this is it. So I think I left the center bare. I couldn't even find the screenshot. Y'all, it has been a wonderful week, but it was a busy week. And now we're just gonna do this. And this is that, I need to post it, where I just use this. I'm gonna buy this, I mean this. Oh, I gotta post that video. It's even better in the video, but I'm mixing up. The way I'm doing it here is a little bit more advanced, but I did an amazing technique that's gonna help you, even if you have hooded eyes. So maybe I'll post that tonight. I am gonna leave the center bare. Isn't this cool? So I cleaned up a little bit more with the C30 and the micellar water just on the top part. And I'm doing it so close that I didn't even have to fill in eyeshadow again. We can just take a little bit of, remember this transition, if you do take too much off, just take it on the fluffy brush. Remember, fluffy means diffused, and then just tap it on top. But I didn't have any gaps. That's only to fill in a gap if you do get a gap. Now I gotta find lashes. Fly hands. Okay, I had to go track down these lashes. So I know at this era, I would have been using these nonstop. These are Full Moon from Rochelle Beauty. Place from the center. Then I like to adjust it over this way. Ooh, this is very cat. Gene will approve. He says, those are some cat eyelashes. And then, do you see how these kind of have these little divots there? I love, love, love the eyeshadow base and black eyeshadow tip, because we can kind of fill those in. And the eyeshadow takes down the shine, and you just have a lot of precision when you do this. So I'm just gonna keep going back and forth, really pushing it in there. Can even come from underneath, fill in any gaps. I'm telling you, the eyeshadow base with the eyeshadow kind of making a cream or liquid eyeshadow is a 10 out of a 10. Let's do our waterline. I love, okay, that was it. I think these are sold out currently, and I blame us entirely. Even myself, I purchased more. They did send me a few, but I had already purchased them because they're the best. So that was all I had to do. And if you've ever kind of had issues with your liner not lasting, transferring, basically everything that we don't like about liners. A lot of times what can happen is when we continue to go back and forth to try to build it up, the tears from our eyes, even if our eyes aren't watering, I don't have watery eyes, but just continuing to go back and forth, it's changing the formula. And when you have something that glides on that easily, that seamlessly, that quickly, you're not going to have all those issues. So that's why I recommend this, because we don't have to just keep going back and forth and creating issues later. Okay, I'm spicing out. Not only are they restocked, but they're only $13 right now. You will not regret it. There's absolutely no way. I've tried every liner in the tri-state area. You will not regret this. You will not regret getting these, especially at that price. Then I'm going to take our liner and I'm just going to stop right there, right where my iris is starting. And then I'm just going to connect. Easy peasy. So I have an update on this foundation. Remember the Kiko Milano lip wear test? I was wearing this, obviously it wore beautifully. And I was wearing it when I was on my trip last week, and I'm just adjusting my phone. I really love this, but let me tell you, okay, this is not going to be for everyone. I would not even say that this one is for combination skin. So oily skin is just going to be out of it. So if you're balanced to dry or very dry, you're going to enjoy this. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe the website even says combination. I feel that especially if you live in a humid climate like I do, because I was able to obviously wear it here in my humid climate and in a much drier climate in LA. But I feel that if you live in a humid climate, I would definitely skip it if you're combination or oily. But I feel that if you live in a very dry climate and you're combination oily, no, not oily, but combination, you could wear it. So there's my review. Climate does make a difference. And then I'm gonna hop off and I'm going to film another product that went viral, and I'm doing that, it went viral, where is it now? But you know what else I love about this foundation? So this, the original HD, which I have right here, this one's gonna work for combination oily. But this one is just a dewy formula, which again, I enjoy. So I was saying something else. I got excited. Oh, I'm doing the viral. No. So I wear 1R, 1-2 in this, and that's what I wear right now. And look how gorgeous that matches. But that's what I wear throughout the entire range. I wear that in HD, and then I also wear it in the powder foundation. So I applaud Makeup Forever for it being so spot on. That is so easy. So if we do want to try this one and you do have balanced to dry or dry skin, you're absolutely, it's going to be so easy to find your shade because it's all the same across the whole line. Yeah, but let's finish putting this on. I'm just going to be 2 seconds filming the other little thing I want to film. Those are pretty fun to film because it's really about community and how it worked for all of us and we can help one another. But you can see how glowy and dewy this is. If you're into the dew, you're gonna love it. And it has really nice coverage, medium coverage, light to medium coverage. I was saying it could do medium, definitely not full, which is not the vibe right now. It just melts in very beautifully. Our C42 in. And this is one of the brushes that you can get within the Complexion Duo right now. It's the C41, which you'll see me use in a second. And this one, the foundation brush, for $50. It's kind of amazing. We're getting y'all ready for what's coming. I'm so excited. That's what I was saying. That's where I was all week. So we had Rose and Beauty stuff. And I actually, we were meeting with some brands while we were in LA. And then we were there for a makeup conference. So that's really where we went. It was wonderful and it's a very, very nice time visiting with people and chatting about makeup. But I missed y'all so much. So what I'm doing is I'm wiping off my E29. We're gonna grab a very small amount. And then we're gonna take it in here. Just a little bit while Jean literally honks shoes. Sounds like a cartoon. And then I'm just gonna melt it a little bit over here. I feel like these liquids on top of powders just melt like no other, and it just makes your eyeshadow look another level of blended. All right, now let me hop off and I'm gonna go film our video so we can chat about the Hourglass concealer. Where is it now? All right, so we got our concealer on. It's the Hourglass again. We're just gonna chat about it. I really feel that this new series that we're doing is so important because things go viral and then all of a sudden we don't see them and we don't hear about them anymore. And then we've all purchased it and then maybe we didn't like it, and it can help to understand more about our skin type and even how climate can affect what we buy. So I think it's a really good series to kind of keep the discussion going, because not everybody that makes things go viral, they don't do the kind of Monday through Friday tutorials like I normally do. Please forgive my absence. But I mean, I've been doing them for 5 years straight. And yeah, so you're able to kind of see it. It doesn't just, it's not a flash in the pan. But again, I like this concealer, but we're gonna talk about it more in the comments of that video. So these were sent to me by Kaleidos. Y'all know that I've purchased some things from them, but then they reached out and said, hey, you want to try some more? I said, yeah, please. But these are very interesting to me because they are very fair, pale colors. And what I'm trying to say is I like the idea of them being kind of a blur situation. Something we don't talk about enough is how to save things. Well, I try to, but I feel that these, let me just try one on really quickly. I'm just going to apply it on my wet base here. So I'm going to grab it here. Oh, I don't know. They look like they could have a lot of pigment. Oh, they do. Okay. But how we could use them as well. That's beautiful. I love that. And again, I have it on top of my, okay, so I'm kind of speechless because this is a first impression. And what I'm thinking is these remind me of the same texture of the NARS that I've been using, but then there's more shades in this, so I'm excited. So let me go back to what I was saying. So I would still consider this a blur blush. We see that we could build this up and get extreme pigment even out of something this fair in the pan. But what I was saying is a lot of times we will put on our blush and we might have some patchiness. So what a pro makeup artist sometimes does is they'll take a blush in that range, but so much lighter than what they have going on. So say that I was just to tap into this. That's a very light tap. We could use that to kind of fill in gaps to patchiness. So having a blur blush in your favorite color, I'm not saying to go get all colors of blush, but some of us tend to have a shade of blush that we gravitate towards, kind of our holy grail of blush. Having a very lighter shade of that blush it's so important. And it could be in a very affordable brand, but having a blush in your favorite shade about 4 shades lighter, it's a game changer. I know that it's collecting makeup, it gets excessive, but something like that is so helpful. So you can save blushes, you could wear different layers for different dimension. There's just so much. It's always a good idea to have a blur blush. It's a real thing, a blur blush. And also I want to remind you, I have no powder on my face right now. Many moons ago, I feel that formulas both of foundation and formulas both of powders, these pressed powders that we have now compared to 15 years ago, they do not become patchy when you place them on top of a wet foundation. So the technique that I would have taught even 5 or 6 years ago was to make sure that everything was set before we did any powder. But you know, makeup innovation's happening. It's happening, jazzerous speaking, and that's one of the things that just fascinates me about makeup. So I'm kind of setting with this blush, and just like a wet eyeshadow base, I'm going to get the most pigment out of it, and I'm also going to get a very even airbrushed look setting with the blush instead of putting powder, then the powder blush. So try it, because even it was hard for me to get out of that. It was hard for me, so I get it. Now that all being said, this formula is delicious. It is melty, melty, blurry, blurry, airbrush, smoothie, smoothie. If you've been here a while, you deciphered all of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and build it up over here as well. Oh, and this is the other brush in the Complexion Duo with the C42 for 50. But let's go ahead and build that up. Now you can see that the C41 has a slant. I'm going to grab it more towards the front of that slant and see it right there? And then I'm going to kind of just transition it just a little bit up here. Not quite underneath the eye, but you can see that it transitions it. And if you've ever wanted your blush to look its most natural, it's about transitions, just like eyeshadow. Same thing, just transition it up. And that's why I love the shape of this brush, because it kind of does that transition for you. Meep, meep, meep. Same thing with this formula, this Kiko Milano bronzer formula. This is 101. This is the one I took to LA with me, that on a C40. No powder on my face, the way that it just looks airbrushed. I love it. I love it so much. I love this technique. I love innovation. And I love this bronzer, and I'm loving the blush. Now I had the bright pink one in the Kaleidos, and I purchased this one myself. But I had this one and I loved it too. But again, I find myself just not wearing the pinks right now in this makeup season. So I'm excited to have that color. And now we can set after we get our bronzer on. And then since we don't have any actual powder on our face yet, we can take our foundation brush, and we're not going to get patchy because these are so thin. These by the blush and the bronzer, it's such a thin formula that we're just able to kind of go over it and continue that blend. Let's make sure that we don't have any lines. I'm kind of showing you there just how smooth that looks. Blend out the nose a little bit more. Nice. And remember, we didn't have powder. I'm only going to tell you that because we need to go in and kind of make sure our concealer is not settled into the fine lines, because it's going to move. That's what's going to happen until it's set. And I have that powder that we're using, Link. It's from Nakia Joy, and I really like it. Nice and set. And then I'm going to go ahead and set the center with this. And our Rose and Ben Beauty setting puff. And you know what? I'm going to educate you just a little bit on this powder. I find that I need less of this powder than I do the Givenchy or any other powder that I've used, which is a good thing because it's going to last longer. But that being said, too much of this, it can get a little heavy. It can also kind of cover up and change the color of your foundation. So you're going to want to use less than what you think with this particular version of powder. I haven't even had to dip back in. Now I did dip back in for this under eye, but when I'm going like this and all over my face, I haven't dipped back in. So it's a very pigmented powder that goes a very, very long way, which is a good thing. But if you're used to using quite a bit of powder, scale back with this one until you figure out the right amount for you. Remember the very first eyeshadow that we went in with, the liquid shadow? I'm going to put that underneath here. And if you have, oh, this is good, y'all. I've been experimenting. If you are still having trouble with creasing, try this. And the reason why, the method behind the madness is we have that powder underneath there, but the way that liquid eyeshadow dries and sets and seals really helps, because a lot of us, most of us, are very expressive. So the way that that eyeshadow kind of goes on top of the powder and on top of the concealer, and it can be any brand, the About Face, the ones that I used, but the way that it goes on top and it sets. And also I feel that liquid shadow can move around more, and I don't mean move as in crease. It can kind of handle more expression without creasing. So it's acting like a sealant, and it can kind of move around. I just want to clarify, when I say move, I mean it can handle movements. Nothing here is going to move. It's the opposite. It's sealing it. But it also has a little bit more give than just powder on top of concealer. It's think of it a little bit more rubbery. Obviously there's no rubber in here, but we're just using that as an analogy. It can just move around. It's more flexible, and it's sealing, and it works. And I need to do another video on it. I'm excited for y'all to try it, because most of us probably have a liquid shadow, especially one that's more neutral, something that we just throw on that's closer, but not exactly the same as our skin tone. So that's a really good tip. And there you go. So we're doing this Kiko Milano. This is one of their unlimited double touches. These are my favorite now. The wear test, it's basically all I wore in LA. I do not have to touch up. It's actually wild. I've never felt anything that's this comfortable. And I know a lot of times we're kind of scarred when we see this kind of dual-ended situation. I don't know what they're putting in this or this formula. I know they're made in Italy. And I know that they're a Chanel duo dupe. And I honestly think they're better. Now, if you do get these, wait for, see how this isn't dry? The bottom was dry, but I did the top afterwards, so it's not dry. Do not put the gloss on top of this until it's completely dry. Just don't. Just wait. Just be patient. Get a hand fan. Isn't this color pretty? I don't think I've worn this color yet. I was wearing the nude. I've already worn it here. You'll see it in my saved highlights, but I was wearing that more peachy nude, and I just love it. But I really like this shade. It's nice and cool. If you like cool tone lipsticks, you're gonna like this shade. And I actually, so that's the actual name. It's on Amazon. It's not an affiliate link. I just got the link on Amazon. But that's the actual shade. So it should take you right to the shade so you can get it. And it was 16 something. So affordable. All right, I love y'all so much. I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I wanted to surprise y'all because I know I was gone all last week. I was going to do them, but I just didn't know how many meetings were happening. They were just kept happening, and we just kept meeting, and we're just meeting. And then, you know what? My stand actually did break. It was wild. But I'm back, and I love you all so much, and there were some good tips here today. Now, I know that this look is pretty spicy, but tomorrow's still Feral Monday. Okay, it's Feral Monday, and I thought we would use the Queen Cosmetics duochromes. Maybe we should just do each eye a different color. I think we should. I'm excited. I love you all so much. In case nobody's told you today, I love you, and definitely posting tonight. So I'll see you there in the comments.